Okay. Sociology paper 1 of 2, October, November 2021. Please record this.
Laboratory experiments are a type of methodology used in sociology. Scholars of this argue laboratory experiments are the only method where causation can be proved. However, the method is rarely used because of practical issues such as cost and ethical issues such as informed consent and harm. One example of the laboratory experiment was controversial because it is experimented on children and how they learn aggressive behavior. In this experiment, a sample of 36 boys and 33 girls aged between 3 and 6 were selected. The children were observed before the experiment began so researchers could rate how aggressive each child was. Four groups of children were compared in the experiment in order to measure effects of watching violent behavior. The three groups who were shown violence went to imitate and violent behavior.
They went on to imitate.
Okay, this is what it said.
Okay.
The fourth group was not shown any violence and did not behave aggressively in the experiment. The experiment was highly standardized and able to be repeated.
Highly standardized.
Standardized and able to be repeated. In the laboratory, researchers were able to control variables to make comparisons and gather objective data. The conclusion of the study was that children who see violence are most likely to behave violently. From source A identified two ethical issues with laboratory experiments.
The first ethical issue was they are encouraging children to be violent. So that was encouraging violence in children. That was the first one.
What type of experience is this?
Well, it's a sociological research anyway. And the second point is that it is harmful. It's harm. So we'll go on to question B, please.
Identify two methods that could be used to gain qualitative data apart from laboratory experiments.
We could use questionnaire and survey.
C. Using information from source A, describe two reasons why the laboratory experiments will be used for method.
Well, let's go back to the source. Here they said in the first paragraph, positivists argue laboratory experiments are the only method where causation can be proved. So the first reason why it's the best method to use is that the experiment will tell us or will be able to tell us the reasons for the causation and as a proof. That's the first thing. And two, it is highly reliable. So that means we can use the same experiment over and over again.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go to question D. Question D, please.
Describe two strengths of using longitudinal studies in sociological research.
One, they give opportunity for researchers to study various factors over time. They give opportunities to researchers to study different factors over time. And number two, it is flexible. It's a flexible method of obtaining both quantitative and qualitative data. Do you get the point, please?
Yes. Sociology is something you could get from the question. Describe your strengths and limitations of using triangulation sociological research.
When you use triangulation, the first point about using triangulation is that it allows you to check the accuracy of the research because it brings up about using different methods. That's the first point. And the second point is about it helps the researcher to support quantitative data with qualitative answers. The problem about using triangulation is that it's time-consuming than using other methods. And so the researcher must be skilled in different methods because if you don't know how to use interview, then you won't be able to use it. Maybe you are good in using questionnaire. Now you have to use questionnaire, interview, and maybe survey. So you have to be skilled in all aspects. And to find a researcher that will be skilled in all aspects takes time. It might be expensive. Please be here. The next one.
Explain why some sociologists criticize the data gathered from structured interviews.
One, the data might have the impact of the interviewer because the interviewer might be interpreting the answers of the participants in a way that suits his own interview.
Okay.
That's the first point. The second point is about positivist. They are critical about gathering data of unstructured interview because they are not reliable. They lack reliability. Unstructured interview cannot be used over again.
Okay. We go for G. To what extent is the
To what extent?
Okay. Is the consensus?
Please read again.
To what extent is the consensus view?
Is the consensus?
Is the consensus view more useful than the confident view from the understanding society?
So when we talk about consensus, we're talking about reaching agreement. So it said, to what extent is agreement better than disagreement in the society? That is the point. Here I wrote, consensus view is more useful than conflict view based on the following one. In general, the society operates with diverse. So one thing is, if the society is full of agreement, like everybody has different views in the society, but because we are able to live together in peace and harmony, is because we forgo or we forget about our indifferences. That is consensus. Do you get the first point there? The second point I made about functionalists, they argue that the society must reach consensus. If the society doesn't reach consensus, there will be chaos in the society. Now, like riots. Why do people fight? Why do people go into riots? Why are they fighting? Because they are unable to reach agreement. So for functionalists, they believe that the society will be, if the society have to function, people have to reach consensus. They have to compromise. That's the second point there. Okay. Okay, yeah, I talked about schools too. Schools, they inculcate values and norms to children, which makes them to feel like, it is important for us to conform with the society. That is part of consensus because the students have to agree with what the schools are teaching them. That's consensus too. And the last one is about the law and enforcement. The law, the police, the courts, they can enforce people to understand. They enforce laws so that people will understand the consequence of not doing the right thing in the society. Okay? So we'll go to question 2.
Sociologists debate whether primary secondary socialization is more influential. However, all societies use some sanctions to control individuals. Some sociologists believe sanctions are used differently depending on the class, ethnicity, age, or gender of the individual. It also has been argued that globalization is changing cultures and affecting people's lifestyles. What is meant by the term lifestyle?
We're talking about lifestyle. We're talking about a typical way of life that an individual chooses, or a group of people, or a society chooses.
Will you describe the examples of the global culture?
Example of global culture is food. With food, here you can take Chinese food, here you can take Indian food, here you can take a Nigerian food here. So we can have the same recipe.
Noodles.
So we can have the same recipe of food all over the world. That's number one. The second point I made is about, I think, movie. Yeah, Bollywood and Hollywood. So individuals from different countries have the same accessibility to see different movie stars and the same movie. So that is globalization there.
Can you explain how negative sanctions are used to control individuals?
So for negative sanctions, I'm going to talk about police arrest, I'm going to talk about school, and I'm going to talk about workplace. For the police arrest, individuals are being arrested when they break the laws in the society. Yes or no? So the police arrest is passing a signal to the society that as soon as you've done something wrong, the police will catch up on you. That's for police arrest. Then let me quickly talk about jail term. Going to jail. People go to jail. They take their liberty away from them. That is what jail means. Like they're taking away your liberty. They're taking away your freedom. So you don't have access to the normal way of life of other people because you don't conform. That's jail term. Then I talk about workplace. The workplace, the fear of being sacked at your workplace and the fear of losing your income would make you to put yourself straight into getting things done the right way. Did you get the point? And the last one is about schools. Schools suspend students, they expel students, they put students to detention. And this is a message to the students, to individuals or pupils, that it is important for you to conform with the rules and regulations of the school.
Yeah.
We'll go to D.
Explain why age is social construction.
Age is socially constructed because one, it's interpreted in different countries in different ways. Age in Libya, how age is being interpreted in Libya is different from how age is being interpreted in Nigeria, and so on. So in the traditional era, younger children are exposed to death, maybe through war. But these days, it's not like that. Children are being protected now. Did you get the point I made there?
Yes.
Is it clear or not?
Yes.
Okay. So go on to
E.
Okay.
To what extent is secondary socialization more influential than primary socialization?
So we're talking about secondary socialization. We're talking about the school, the workplace, the peer group. So how are these influential than primary socialization? Yeah, I'm supporting being influential than primary socialization first. Let's talk about the workplace. The workplace has its norms and values. Okay. Yes or no? The workplace, they have the norms and values. So for individuals to continue to be at a workplace, for you to continue to be part of the settings, it means you have to conform with the norms and the values. So that puts you in shape to be a better person. Okay. If not, you are losing your job. That's for school or for the workplace. Then I talk about the peer group. The peer group can exert pressure on individuals for them to behave in a certain way. So your peers can influence you. They can put pressure on you to be part of what they want you to become. Then the last one is the agencies of law and order. They are in control of individuals' behavior. So the law, I'm talking about the police here. So the law and order, as in the police, they enforce the law. So they control how we behave in the society. If not, they take away our liberty. Okay. Clear. So that's the end of November 2021, from 1 of 2.